Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking the literal architecture of you by exploring the true everyday power of protein. Think about your body as an incredibly complex skyscraper. Protein isn't just the steel frame holding the whole thing up. No, it's the concrete, the wiring, the plumbing, and even the maintenance crew all rolled into one.
So let's just dive right in with a super simple question. Are you actually getting enough of it? You know, we hear about protein constantly, especially in fitness circles. But zooming out for a second, do you have enough of the raw materials needed to keep your biological skyscraper running optimally?
Well, according to a massive national survey, 1 in 5 adults do not consume enough of this critical biological mortar. Think about that. That is 20% of people walking around right now with a slight but really impactful deficiency. And that means slower healing, potentially compromised immune systems, and a much harder time maintaining everyday muscle mass.
Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the ultimate building block, muscles, bones, and tissues, appetite, metabolism, and weight, healthy aging and recovery, and finally, sources and daily limits.
Starting right off with Section 1, the ultimate building block, in understanding amino acids.
Okay, so proteins are basically made up of 20 different amino acids. You can think of them like a biological alphabet. Now, your body's incredibly smart, right? It can manufacture 11 of these letters completely on its own. We call those the non-essential ones. But the remaining 9, those are absolutely essential. Your body literally cannot make them from scratch, meaning they absolutely have to come from your daily diet.
Moving right along to Section 2, muscles, bones, and tissues, which form your physical foundation.
Let's get one thing straight. Protein is definitely not just for bodybuilders. It's actively out there repairing your organs, your skin, your hair, and it even fuels your immune system and your digestive enzymes. Whenever you eat protein, your body breaks it all the way back down into those single amino acids and just ships them out to wherever the construction is needed most in your skyscraper. That could be producing keratin for your hair or maybe generating antibodies to fight off a winter cold.
And here is a super interesting point. Despite that really persistent myth that eating animal protein somehow leaches calcium from your bones, the actual science shows the exact opposite. A massive 2022 review actually found that increased protein intake, specifically high-quality animal protein, plays a highly significant role in improving your bone density and lowering your overall risk of fractures.
Okay, Section 3, appetite, metabolism, and weight. Think of this as your internal engine.
You know, there is a very distinct biological difference between normal hunger and a sudden food craving. Normal hunger is just your physical body politely asking for fuel to function. But a craving? That is your brain desperately seeking a quick dopamine hit, usually from sugary, ultra-processed junk. It's exactly why we rarely, if ever, crave a huge bowl of steamed broccoli at 10 p.m., but we almost always crave donuts. You aren't just fighting your stomach in those moments. You are literally fighting your brain's reward center.
But here is protein's absolute secret superpower. If you bump up your protein intake to just 25% of your total daily calories, older studies show you can slash those late-night cravings by a massive 60%. It actually improves dopamine function in the brain, which perfectly satisfies that reward center while simultaneously crushing your main hunger hormone, ghrelin. Talk about a total win-win.
Plus, just digesting protein actually burns 20 to 30% of its own calories, which vastly outperforms both carbs and fats. We call this the thermic effect of food. Seriously, if you've ever felt yourself get a little warm after eating a huge steak dinner, you know, the legendary meat sweats, that's literally this effect in action. If you eat 100 calories of pure protein, your body burns up to 30 of those calories just doing the heavy lifting of breaking it down.
Let's look at Section 4 now, healthy aging and recovery, or what I really like to call the long game.
Starting around age 50 or so, we all face something called sarcopenia. It's this gradual, age-related loss of skeletal muscle mass that can eventually lead to frailty. Think of it as your biological maintenance crew deciding to retire early. But if you aim for roughly 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight every day, and maybe pair that with some light resistance training, you send a really powerful signal to your body to rehire that crew and hold on to your critical muscle.
And it works absolute wonders for your cardiovascular health too. A huge 2010 review of 40 different studies found that higher protein intakes act kind of like a natural pressure release valve for your circulatory system. It actually lowered both average systolic and diastolic blood pressure, actively shielding your heart over the decades.
It's also incredibly vital for recovery. Every single time you exercise, you're creating these tiny micro tears in your muscle fibers.
Well, protein rushes in post-workout to patch up those tears, which is exactly what makes the muscle slightly stronger than it was before. Whether you're recovering from a tough gym session or healing up from an injury, protein provides the exact cellular materials your body needs to basically stitch itself back together.
Which brings us to our final section. Section 5, Sources and Daily Limits. Let's talk about practical dietary application.
With all this talk about muscle building, metabolism, and recovery, you might be asking yourself right now, do I really need to go out and buy expensive protein shakes? I mean, the fitness industry spends billions of dollars trying to convince us that powders are practically mandatory for optimal health.
But the honest truth is, no, you absolutely don't. You can get all the high-quality, complete proteins you need just by eating a variety of whole foods. We're talking lean meats, fish, dairy, eggs, legumes, and nuts. Animal products are complete proteins by default, but even if you're entirely plant-based, simply combining things like beans and whole grains gives your body that exact same essential amino acid profile.
In fact, national nutrition surveys reveal a pretty surprising truth. 99% of people get plenty of protein from food alone, making those powders and shakes largely unnecessary for the average adult. Remember, your body cannot store extra protein for later use, so any massive excess you chug from a supplement on top of a perfectly healthy diet is simply flushed away as waste or, unfortunately, stored as fat.
And while dietary guidelines recommend a really modest 46 to 56 grams daily for baseline adult health, you really have to beware of internet fad diets pushing up to 400 grams a day. A moderate high-protein diet is perfectly safe, for sure, but taking it to absolute extreme levels forces your liver and kidneys to work completely on overdrive just to process all that nitrogen. It is all about finding that healthy balance.
So looking at everything we've uncovered in today's explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. You are the architect of your own biological skyscraper. Are the fundamental blocks in your next meal going to build you up or let you down? Thanks so much for joining me to figure this out, and I'll catch you in the next one.